Okay.
We said that economy was the main reason for starting the revolution because for 4 reasons. 1 being the limited currency, 2 being the amount of taxes, 3 being the hope of getting rid of debt, and 4 being the territorial issues. We argue that these reasons stated above are the main reasons for starting the Revolutionary War because at the time, can we restart? Keep going. I can't really see it. The time in history when people are driven, this wasn't the first time in history when people were driven by the desire to gain more wealth and become richer.
I'm arguing about that the lack of currency caused the American Revolution because of deficit between the trade between colonial American and British merchants. The gold and silver that owned by the colonial American is sucked back to British people, and they don't have enough gold and silver supply, and British government banned them from using paper cash and some other goods to use instead of cash. So colonial Americans suffers from lack of currency, which leads to lack of trade, so they made the revolution.
So, economical reasons were major trigger points of almost every riot, massacre, or boycott. Americans were against the internal taxes as they believed that Parliament had no right to make those. They wanted to have the same rights as the people of their motherland, which included a right to consent to unlawful taxation. The Wool Act, the Hat Act, the Iron Act, the Tea Act, the Sugar Act, the Stamp Act, etc. But they were rejected by the Parliament. First, Britain was neglecting the colonies which are settled there, but then, after having a war and being in huge debt, they remembered their colonies and started to take money from those. They had a special interest in the incoming taxes from the colonies by British goods and British selling and trading with the colonists. So they didn't have any interest in the internal affair of the America. And as one colonist said from the foreigner, is that there was no point in worrying about the behavior of colonists who planned tobacco and Puritanism only like fools. So that states that the Britain wasn't interested in solving the problems of the colonists, but just collecting the taxes and the payments from them, from the trade of them with other countries. So people were most against the taxes which Britain has allowed and which were accepted in the Parliament without representation of the rights of the colonists. So the major acts were the Sugar Act, which included a tax on sugar and imported sugar prices. The Currency Act, which Javin has talking about, the Stamp Act, the act that was taking the taxes from all the stamps, paper, and all the goods that were imported and exported out of the country. The Tea Act, which have had a big influence on the country because everyone liked tea, and British East India Company was given a monopoly to trade in the Britain, in America, tea. After that led to Boston Tea Party, where colonists have just masked into Indians and just spilled 3 ships of tea into the water, thus leading to Boston Massacre.
No, go ahead. We don't understand it. Keep going.
Okay, so I'll be short. So, as we said, one of the reasons also was that most of the people were in debt to people in England. So, say Thomas Jefferson was in debt for much of his life. When he died in 1826, Jefferson still owes his creditors. Founding fathers as Thomas Jefferson and George Washington were hoping to get rid of the debts by starting the revolution so that they would be citizens of another country, and that's why they won't have to pay those taxes, those debts.
And the last point was the territorial issues. And one of the major things was the Proclamation of 1763, which is when the British government said that they weren't going to allow the colonies to move past the Appalachian Mountains. And a lot of people had already settled past the Appalachian Mountains, so they had to move back. And Thomas Jefferson owned a lot of land in Virginia, and he wanted to spread further, and the British government would allow it.